everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Well, in this tutorial we'll learn how to build a robust Laravel admin panel or Laravel backend panel. Okay, we'll build this panel based on this package, Laravel admin. It's a very powerful tool and we'll install it using Composer. And here's some basic introduction. As you can see, it's been downloaded 1.3 million times. And once you install and customize it a little bit, then you'll see that it looks like this. Of course, you have to have your database record. You can do much more than this, and I'll guide you through how to do that. Okay, now first over here you can have all this guide, how to start, how to customize it based on your own needings, pretty much there. But I have summarized the installation and other related useful functions, so that it's easy for you guys to get started with. Okay, anyway, so first we'll come here and install Laravel package itself, and then we'll install the Laravel admin package, which is this one, as you can see over here. All right, so we'll come to a terminal over here. So I already have a folder, and I'll enter into it, and I'll call it cd.bslmail, and over here I'll install my Laravel package. So I'm on server right now. You can do it on your local host. The basic installation of Laravel is the same, so you can do it on your way. Okay, now here I'll create a Laravel folder, and I'm using Composer, so I'll hit yes. So it'll download the Laravel from the server. It might take a couple of minutes, based on your internet speed and things like that. But anyway, it's already downloading over here. Well, the installation has been done, so I'll go to this project folder, which is over here, and it's the Laravel folder. As you can see, this is the main folder, project folder, and within it I have this Laravel. Now over here I'll open it up, and I'll do basic setups with my database and things like that. So I'll do this on my own. Okay, so you should do this as well on your own, so based on your database name and username and password, whatever it is. Okay, I'm done with the setup. Now over here there is another file, which is this one. Okay, so over here actually you need to do this command to run your Laravel application up and running. But I think if you're on localhost you don't need this, but I'm on server, so I need them. Especially I need this permission, but the permission you need anywhere, whether it's localhost or on server. Okay, so here I'll start over here, and I'll hit this command folder, which is Laravel, this one. Now I'll run this command, and it did it. Next I'll run this command over here. Some of them are not really necessary, but okay, now we'll run this one. And before we run that, make sure that you have your database installed and your .env file has been configured with database name and password, otherwise it'll get error. Now I'll run this, and it'll migrate the tables for me, and I'll hit this command over here for storage file, where we'll upload our images and other files. And I think we can dump our Composer. We don't need this thing for now. Okay, yes, well, you can do it even later, it doesn't matter. Now I think this might be also important as well, so let's go ahead and do it. These are not that important for now, so we can skip that, but if we have permission error we can go ahead and do it. All right, now after this I think we'll be able to access our front end. So this is the front end that came with default Laravel application. Anyway, so now what we'll do, we'll come over here. So Laravel installation has been done, and if you're on localhost you need to do this one. All right, by the way, because I'm on server, so you still need to configure your virtual host file if you are on dedicated server. On shared server you don't need to do anything like this, but on localhost you need to have this one. You need to run this command. Okay, All right, and here I have this one like where it says that you can go ahead and look up this domain, which is actually over here, installation guide. Okay, so this one is pretty much over here, so they're same thing. I just listed them over here, so all things are together. Anyway, so now we'll go ahead and install Laravel admin package. Okay, so I'll install it, and once again it's asking if you are running it as a root or not using Composer. Okay, so it'll be done very soon. Okay, well, now we need to publish our application, and we'll use this one to publish it, and all the resources are in vendor folder. A lot of them, actually, not all of them. Not all of them. Okay, so now it's been published, and after that actually we'll go ahead and install this package. Okay, actual installation, actually this got the file but it didn't do installation, and now with this command it will do installation. Okay, and basically pretty much it migrated a lot of what is it, let's see, not really migration though. It installed a lot of files, so we'll take a look at them soon. Okay, now at the same time it says that if you go over here and if you're on localhost, you'd be able to access the backend. So you need to use /admin, your domain name /admin or localhost /admin. So that's what we'll do now. So you do admin, and we'll see a beautiful simple login page. Okay, now over here it says that you can access it using admin password and username. I also mentioned it over here. Okay, anyway, so now we'll do admin. Okay, so I think the password was wrong. I'll type it again, admin. Okay, now it worked. So this is the default Laravel admin package backend. Okay, now we can cross them, but it also, delete them, but it also tells you your environment and extensions available that you can use. A lot of them are very useful, like here you can use this one for API tester, media manager, scheduling, reporting. Very powerful, pretty powerful, these extensions, and I use a lot of them in my development and some dependencies. Okay, so a lot of time we'll work with this one over here. Okay, all right, anyway, so we can close them. Okay, so here is this menu, and we also have here like menus and users. So this is the admin user. You can add actually more user over here, but we'll take care of this problem later. Okay, soon we'll take care of that, but don't worry about that one. So over here you can view all the users, you can add users. So this is super user. So once you added it, you can submit information. Okay, so right now our backend password was admin and username was admin, so definitely would be able to solve them or change them over here, as you can see. And you can set up permissions for your users. Okay, so you can have multiple admin and you can give them permission from here. Okay, all right, so permission routes are here, and here for your menu buttons. Okay, so you can close it over here. So these two buttons are coming from here. Okay, so as you can see, this one relates to this dashboard. Okay, and this one relates to over here. Okay, so we have a lot of buttons over here. Anyway, so we would be able to create new buttons and hook them here, and that'd be pretty simple for us, pretty easy. We'll go through them. So this is the basic tour of this backend panel. So now here let's look at some config files. So if you come over here, so this is where I have installed my Laravel admin package and Laravel as well. So now this is the default one which comes in Laravel installation, but if we open it up, we'll see an admin folder that came because we installed this one over here from this one. Okay, so now within it you will have this controller package, controller folder, within controller folders you will have a lot of controllers that you can or you might need to use for your backend. So whatever the controllers we create, they would be over here. And so this is the home controller. All right, just now you saw the home controller, the related resources, like for example, so over here. Okay, so these are coming from pretty much home controller. Okay, and the home our backend routes are over here. Okay, controllers routes file over here. So backend home resources route is this one. Okay, all right. So now we'll take a look at this config file over here, which is this one, admin. Okay, so this is for our Laravel admin package. So you can go through it and check it out. So some of the configuration will change soon, and I'll walk you through step by step. Okay, but remember, this is for a configuration file. Okay, you can configure the way you want, and our extension should go here. We'll have an extension in this tutorial. We'll install a text editor, so it will come over here. And next we'll have this file system, which is pretty important. Over here we'll also modify this desk for our admin panel. Okay, and because of that one, actually just now we had a little bit of error, like when you came here and you wanted to configure this one, it asks you that configure this one. So otherwise you will have errors. Okay, we'll fix them very soon. Anyway, so now if we come over here, so I already told you this basic admin file structure, how it works. So once again, whatever controller you create for your project, they would be all here for backend, and whatever the models you create, they would be all here. But again, this is a general place for Laravel default installation. All the models are here as well, and for admin the models would be here as well. Okay, not much change, only big change is over here. All right, now it's time to customize our backend like we saw in the demo. For that one, actually we need to create first two models. Okay, because we'll create article and article posting, article editing, article CRUD operations, all these things you can think of. So we need to create two models. One is for article, so that's for showing the article, and the other is article type or category. Okay, so we'll go ahead and create two articles right now, two article models actually. Okay, so over here I'll come over here, I'll do clear and hit this, and it will generate a model for us. And we'll do the same over here for article type. So we'll create article type model. Once the models are here, they'll be generated over here in models folder. So in this case over here, but I need to refresh it. Now if I open it up, if I see the models, so we have two models over here. Okay, all right, so I'll close them. We don't need this. We also didn't need this. We need this, but we'll open them later. For now, I'll keep this two opened. Okay, all right, so the models are there. Now we need to create two controllers for them. One for article and the other is for article type. For article, we'll call it article controller. The other is article type controller. So we'll go ahead and simply copy paste this one. We'll hit enter and it will create one controller. And over here, now as you see, it says that it asks you to add the following line to the routes. Okay, so we created two controllers. One is article controller and then there's article type controller. Sorry for the noise though. Anyway, so we'll copy this one, and over here we'll find our routes file and we'll paste them. Okay, so let's find the other one, the second one. Okay, now we'll save them. So one thing I want to highlight though, that if you want to create controllers for your backend, which should be saved over here within this folder, as you see we already have this too. All right, this two we just created. So any kind of controller that you want to create for your backend, so the rule should be admin make and then your controller name. So using this one, it will create controllers within admin folder, okay, within admin controllers folder. At the same time, you should also mention your model name, okay, and model path. So this is the model path as well as the model name. So make sure you have the correct format, otherwise you'll get error. So whatever your controller create for your backend should follow this pattern. Okay, once again, it's coming from here. Okay, everything is here. You can go over this file, okay? But all I did, I put them all in one file so that you don't need to move around. Okay, so that's what we did. Anyway, so we have these two controllers right here, and so once again, go ahead and take a look. So article controller, this is this default file, an article type controller, okay? All right, and in both of the files, we have this method called grid, detail, and form. Grid is for showing the record from the database. Detail is for you click on one of the records and view it. And the form is for creating new record and submitting. As you see, it automatically bind the model over here. Do remember, article is the model over here. Article type is the model for article type. So in both cases, it auto-generated the controllers and also imported the model and tagged the model name inside the method. So these three methods would be super important for our backend. The same goes over here, okay? All right. Now if we come to our backend, anyway, we'll take care of that later, don't worry. Now, what I want to do, I want to go to dashboard and I want to do refresh, okay? Now, here, as I said early, or maybe I didn't, every time you create a resource like this, controller resource, using models for your backend, you can create menus using them. And once you create the menus, they would show up here. Okay? Yeah. So that's what we can do. So every time you create resources using this command, and also at the same time you generated models, you can bind them here. So we have to bind them, and that's pretty easy. What I will do, I will come over here. Okay, now here we can create a new menu which would be attached here. Okay, all right, do remember once again, so this is a resource and this is a resource as well. So this one bound to this controller and article types bound to this one. Anyway, and once again, this is also the route name. Okay, resource and route. All right, so we'll come over here. Now here, first I'll create title for our menu. I'll call it article, and now over here I can attach a menu icon. Okay, so I'll call it, let's see, we don't have article, so let's search for menu. So I'll call it for a book. Okay, well, it doesn't have all these icons, but in future we'll see how to import more icons. Okay, all right, so that's one. Let's see, go with note. So we'll go ahead with note. All right, this one. Now here you need to mention your route name. So for the first one, for this one, route name is articles. So we'll copy this one and just put it right there. Okay, and at the same time you also need a slash. Okay, I think I would come over here and put it here. And for now we'll give them all this operation permission. Using this, it would be able to access and do everything for this menu. Okay, so I'll refresh it. Okay, now I submitted it, but it didn't show up over here. It is supposed to show up. You can do a refresh, and as you can see, it's over here. Now of course, we need more things. We need also create migration files, and which we'll do very soon. Okay, so that's why we have this error. Okay, and we'll do the last menu resources over here, this one, for this route. I'll copy, we'll come over here, this one, and I'll come to the menu over here. Now I'll paste this one, and over here I'll just say category. Okay, and give them all these permissions. Now over here I'll create, look for another icon which is notes. Wow, maybe, okay, I'll go ahead with this one. All right, and I'll create this. Okay, now you refresh it, you will see another menu. Okay, like that. Okay, but of course we still have this error because we do have the models for them, but we don't have any database tables. Okay, as you can see, it's looking for a database table, but it couldn't find it. And for article, it's looking for articles table. That's because we didn't create the migration and migration files. So now we'll come over here. Before we go ahead and create migration files, first take a look at our structure, that what we want in our migration files. For articles, we want an ID, type ID, which is category ID, subtitle, description, thumbnail, when it released, and the created updated timestamps. And we want for article type or article categories, we want ID, title, parent ID, created and updated. And what is parent ID, I will tell you soon. Once again, another thing though, so this type ID is this article types ID. Okay, so we'll save it over here in this table. So there would be a relationship, okay, allocant relationship. We'll do that later. Okay, so now first we'll go ahead and run this command, and it will help us to create two migration files. Okay, that's what I'll do. It already created one, and now over here we'll create migration files for our article types or article category. Okay, all right, it did. Now if we come over here, and we'll see that in our database file over here in migration we have this too. All right, okay, so for now I'll close them so that we know what's happening. So this is the articles, okay, and this is the article type, which is category. Now we saw early that this is what we want. Okay, ID, type ID, title, subtitle, description, thumbnail. For thumbnail, we'll store the image path in the database. Anyway, so now for ID and timestamps, they're this one and this two, so we need to deal with the last six, the rest six. Okay, so here we do table, and here we do string and the title. So this is the article title, and here string article subtitle. Okay, all right, and this could be nullable. So this could be, well, this is not nullable, but this is nullable. Okay, all right, and we will have type ID, which is category ID. So that would be, say, integer, and here we do type ID. All right, and over here we'll also have a description, which would be text, and we'll call it description. And the description could be nullable, and we'll have our thumbnail, but thumbnail will just save the text or the image path. Okay, so that would be string, and now here we'll call it just simply thumbnail, and this could be nullable, so we might upload the thumbnail, we might not. Okay, all right, and the last one, whether you want to publish it. Okay, So I'll call it will be string type, and I'll call it released. Okay, and the default value is, okay, it should be integer type, in or tiny integer. Okay, and the default value is 0. Okay, all right, so we are done with this other 6 field. Okay, now I will save them, and over here, this is our category type or article type. So here we'll create a field which is string type, and I'll call it title. Okay, and over here we'll have another integer, and we'll call it parent ID. I'll explain what is parent ID soon. Now we'll have another one and this is also integer, and we'll call it order. Okay, so once I'm done with this creating the backend menus, I'll show you what are these things, okay, and what is parent ID. Anyway, I'll go ahead and save them. So we created this migration file, and we filled up the columns name with their type. Make sure they're correct. Thumbnail, nullable, integer, yes. Okay, so now we'll come over here. We already did this part, right? So we'll just simply go ahead and run PHP addition migrate. Okay, so it migrated these 4 tables. Okay, all right, and created 4 tables in the database. So now if we come to our database over here, we'll see we have this article table, and it is this field over here, and for article types we have these things, okay, as we expected. Now we'll come over here. Now we'll refresh them. Perfect. So this is for articles, right? And we already have this default buttons over here, and for category it's the same thing. So it also has this title. Okay, now these titles are coming from, okay, let me close them, we don't need them anymore. Now they're coming from, see, over here. So you can change it. So instead of article type, you can also call it category, it doesn't matter. But now if you come over here, refresh that, come over here, you see there is a change. So that's what I like about it. You don't need to write any HTML, CSS or JS things. It's all PHP, pure PHP, PHP 7.4, and actually all the latest PHP it supports. Anyway, so now well, so these are the things that we already saw and I told you, so we can skip that now. Okay, all right, so we already did this part, we already have this one. Okay, so one thing I want to do, I want to create a main menu, and under main menu I want to have article and article category. Okay, so for this one I'll come over here and create a main menu, and I'll call it my articles. Okay, and now over here I'll just simply do this one. Okay, and for this one there is no route, so it will fall back to the default route. Okay, and for now we'll give them all these permissions. Okay, so now you refresh it, it is there. Now I want this 2 to be below this. Okay, and we can change this easily. How to do that? So first I'll come over here, category, I'll come over here, this menu option. Now here you see article type, article category, this one. So I can change it, so I want it to be under this one. Okay, all you need to do is submit. Perfect. Okay, now that's one way to do. For this one we can do other way, you can just simply drag them. Okay, it's beautiful, isn't it, and convenient. or you could do it from here as well. But if you dragged it, then you need to save it. Okay, it already saved. Let's do a refresh. You see it's gone. Now it's below this category. Okay, yeah, you can open it up and you'd be able to see that. Beautiful, isn't it? And convenient. So this drag and drop thing, and I love about it. Okay, you can arrange whatever the way you want. Okay, speaking of this one, first we'll go ahead and create our article types. Okay, and then we'll see we can change the article types, their order, using drag and drop. Okay, first thing first. So now over here we have this article type controller, and as I said, this methods like this grid. Let me show you. So this category. Okay, this grid is showing this category. Of course there's nothing because we didn't create any type. All right, of course you can go ahead and click on this. Nothing will happen though, because we don't have anything to create. The first we need to create a category, so we need to create a form. So as I said earlier, so this is the form. Okay, you use this one to create forms, okay, and submit it. All right, speaking of this one, so as you see, form constructor takes a model. So our model is article type. Using this one, we'll create our categories, our types. Okay, all right. So the first thing we want to do over here. Okay, so now form takes article type. Saying that one, this article type is a model has field. Our fields are, remember, our fields are over here, title, parent ID, order. So we can access them using this form object. Remember, form object is created both from form and which takes article type, so we can access these fields, okay, using this form object. So we'll do that one. Now here, whenever you access them, for example, I want to access this title, and the title type is over here text type or string type, right? Now for Laravel backend, any kind of string or text, you need to access them using text. Okay, now what's the field name? Field name is title, which is this one. Okay, all right. So these are title. Now what I can do, I can just save it over here. Okay, now I'll go ahead and refresh it, and I'll try to create a new one. Do remember, when you hit on this button create, this form method gets called. Okay, so I'll click over here, create. As you see, it's there. All right, yeah, that's it. It's so simple. You created your first form without writing any single HTML, CSS. Beautiful, isn't it? Okay, well, in fact, you can go ahead and try to submit the button. Okay, and you can do it, you can submit it, but we'll have none of fillable issues, so we need other fields as well. Okay, all right, so that's the title or category name. Okay, all right. And over here, what we could do, we could also show our order. Okay, so order was a number, integer. Okay, so if you come over here and take a look, we talked about it. So well, I think I'm missing one of the other field over here, order, which I have over here, order. Okay, anyway, so order is integer. So any kind of integer in Laravel backend is you can access using number, this method. Okay, and just to write here order. Okay, now let's go ahead and save it and come over here, refresh it. So order is here. Okay, yeah. So let's see if we can attach a default value. Default is 0. Okay, now once again come over here and create a new one. The default value is 0. All right, okay, perfect. Now, of course, we want to create something, create more like this one. Let me show you. Now, actually, what we are trying to do over here, we want to create something more like this, where you'll be able to select your categories and say select and save. That's what we want to do, pretty much like that. Okay, that's what we want to do. Okay, yeah. Now here title is required. Okay, so you must have title. So once you call this function, so you come over here, try to create a new one, you'll see the star sign, which is required. Okay, once again, we're trying to build something like this. Okay, so we want to select options, we want to create options. That's what we'll do now. So over here, we'll come over here. Now one thing, well, I think I want to do it here. We'll do form. Okay, now here I'll call select. So select is a method. Okay, and it also selects from database as well. Okay, it takes all the information, all the title from article type and show it over here. Okay, so that's what it does. Now related to this one, in our database for select, which is parent ID. Okay, so we want to submit to our parent ID. The column name is parent ID. So that's what we'll do here. We'll write here parent ID. Okay, now over here we can also tag a name. We can call it, okay, for now we'll not do that. I'll show you something interesting. Okay, now over here I would do options. Now this method is coming from form select method. Okay, so it's within your Laravel admin package. All right, now over here, so it takes a model. Okay, so our model is article type. Okay, and then based on whatever in our article type, whatever the items there, we'll show them as an options. Okay, so here we'll do select options. Okay, and that's done. Now come over here, save it, come over here, now come to our article category and try to create a new one. Here, click on this and we'll have an error. Now this error because, well, we want to access this function, but we didn't import the file for this function. Okay, so well, to do that, you can come over here and take a look. So here, this is our article type model, and if you take a look at the default one, which generated automatically, so this is the default situation. But if we want to be able to show the options, okay, like drop down menu, we need to import some of these files and the libraries. So two of them are, which I guess this one, use model tree. Okay, so we need to import that one over here. You need to tell it that we are going to depend on this. So this is a dependency, and at the same time I think we also need to import this one. Okay, so we'll go ahead and import it. Now save it. So now we come over here, refresh it and try to create one. You see, now this is the menu we created, and this is a drop down menu. Of course, there's only one option, which is root, which is the parent ID. All right, okay, so as I said earlier, actually I'm going to explain to you this one later. So now this parent ID, once you choose anything from here, whatever including this one, it's saved in the parent ID, this one. So in our database, the parent ID column is this one, it's saved there. Well, right now nothing is there, so the default one is root. Okay, once again, we have so far built this part without writing any JS and CS. That's what I love about it. Okay, isn't it interesting? Okay, so now whatever in the database model article type, it will show up over here, but there is nothing, so default one is 0. Okay, all right, now over here I'll create one. I'll call it programming. Default value for now doesn't really matter. I'll go ahead and submit it. All right, Okay, now I'll create a new one. Now as I create a new one, as you will see, this showing up already, this drop down menu. Okay, now here I'll call it Laravel. Okay, and I want it, the parent ID should be programming. Now I'll submit it. Okay, and now I'll go ahead and create a new one. Okay, and this one I'll call it Flutter. Okay, now I'll come over here and see them. So this is beautiful, isn't it? Okay, without writing any JS files. But anyway, so now if we come to this category where we are supposed to see the record but nothing is there, right? But we can only create. So now what we could do, we could come over here, our grid method, which is this one. As I said earlier, it takes it shows you all this record from the database. Okay, so that's what we want to see. Now here, what we do, just like form, so grid takes model, and using this one you can access all the values, all the columns or fields in your model. Okay, you can do that. Now here what I would do, I'll just simply go ahead and call title. Okay, and over here I'll just what else we could do? No, I'll save it. Okay, yeah. Now over here you refresh it, you see the title is here, right? Okay, so these titles are coming from our database, which is, if you see, so this title. Okay, all right. Now the title is our field name, right, or the column name. Over here you can directly call the column name or field name. Okay, in fact you can do other things. You can call it title, capital letter. Okay, save it. All right, now you come over here and refresh it. Okay, but nothing changed. Okay, you can call it a different name. You can just call it name. All right, come over here, refresh it, change to name. In fact, there are many other ways to do that. So I'll remove that. I'll call here column. Okay, and title is our field name, this one. And over here you can call it anything you want, but we'll call it title. Okay, now if you come to this place over here, we're done with installation, and you can see model grid basic usage. So that's what we see here. Okay, so each of the field from the database you can access either using this column method, which we already did, or you can directly access them using the field in your database. All right, so that's what it tells you. So just now we did like this. If you have a field name which is user, and you can access it like this, column like this, or like this. Okay, so if you use like this should be your field name, and this should be whatever the label you want with this. Okay, so that's what we did. Okay, all right. So now back over here, and so we have the basic understanding how to work over here. Here we could do more things. So here we do column ID and ID. Okay, now let's save it. Now you come over here and you see the article IDs. Okay, now we also want to show our parent title or parent category. Okay, all right, so these are just the title. Okay, well, okay, so far so good. But now actually what we want to do like this, as we saw earlier, that we can drag and drop like this. Okay, so that's what we want. Okay, let's save it. So we want to create a drag and drop effect. Again, once we'll do that, and we'll do that without using any JS and CSS. Okay, well, to do that, in article type controller, we need to override. We don't need this one anymore, so we'll comment it out. Okay, all right, so we need to override a method over here which is called index method. Okay, So that's what we'll do. So here we do public function index. Okay, now the default will override the default index method. Okay, and it takes an object which is called route binding model, and which is the object is, or the class is content class, and I'll do a lot more using it soon. Okay, now over here we need to create a new variable which we'll call tree, and we'll use a new constructor which is called a tree, and within it we'll pass our article type. Okay, all right, now we are using this class content and this class tree, so we need to import them at the top. And how do you do that? So to import that, we'll just simply go ahead and copy this one, copy this too, and here we'll use them. Okay, now with this we'd be able to access the content and the tree class, and the purpose is we want to build a tree model like this. This is called tree model. Okay, now regarding tree model, you can come over here and read more if you want. Okay, there's tons of information over here. Okay, so you can do and read. Actually, every information is here. It depends how you grasp them. Like I wrote model grid, which we saw early, this method, everything is here. Okay, so you can go through them step by step, and pretty useful. Anyway, so now we are done. So we created a tree object using our model. Okay, now we need to return it. Okay, so if we want to return it, we need to use this object which is called content. Okay, and now it has a method called header, so we'll set the header over here, and we'll call it article category, just like we had earlier over here, this one. So we are overriding that one, and then we need to pass this object for the body. Okay, now here we'll do tree. Okay, now we'll simply just return. Okay, that's it. So using these two lines, in fact, we are able to create this effect. So now we'll come over here, refresh it. Now here I'll come to this article. Now as you see, we already have this one. Okay, so we can even do this one and save it. Now it's saved. Okay, now you see, come over here, this one. Okay, the order changed, right, like that. So now it's Flutter, now it's Laravel. In fact, we can go back and change it once again. So instead of Laravel, we can do Flutter, and we save it. Okay, now you come over here, try to create a new one. Here, create a new one, and you'll see Laravel is at the top. In fact, you can play around this parent as well. If you come over here, even you can change the parent right now. So that's why it's beautiful. Okay, in fact, you can take it out of this parent. Okay, you can save it. All right, now if you come over here, try to create a new one, you'll see it's different. Okay, but anyway, we'll keep the Flutter category under programming category. So I'll come over here and save it. Okay, so far we are done with creating these categories, and we have done all of this thing just using these lines and these few lines, not even 10 lines of coding. Okay, that's the most beautiful thing about it. Once again, so select is for selecting from your model, and they created the options like drop down menu. Okay, hopefully it makes sense. Now we are done with this thing. Now what do we want to do? We want to head over to our controller over here, article controller, and for that one we'll have this one, but of course we have nothing. Okay, so we'll head over to this one, and here we'll have this grid form method over here. So once again, this form method we use for creating forms. Okay, so now here, first, what do we want with our form? We want our form to have a title for our article. Okay, so simply we'd go over here and we'll do text. Now here we'll call the title, which is once again coming from the database, the title name or the model field is title, and here we'll call it title. Sorry. Okay, now if we come over here, try to refresh, you see title is already here. Wonderful, isn't it? So I'll just copy this one, put it over here. So now here I'll call it subtitle. I'll call subtitle and subtitle. Okay, and now here we'll have this another text which is for description. And here, but let's say you don't put this label over here, and let's see what happens. So you save it. Now you save it over here. So you see it generates for you automatically. So you can skip this part if you want. It doesn't really matter, okay? Or you want to have a customized name using this function. So I can call it content, okay? Save it, come over here, take a look. Now it become content. So this is our text field, right? Okay, now you can, I think you can do text area because you want to show longer text. Okay, and it says text area doesn't exist. So what we'll do, we'll head over to this one, and let's see. Now we'll try to see the form method over here. Okay, basic usage. Do we have any? Let's see, text area for form. So anyway, once again, all the properties you can access using like this from your database field. Okay, and some of the properties you can create on your own. Okay, let's see if we have any text field. We do have checkbox, so let's see. That looks like we don't have text area, so now we'll just stick with text. Okay, now we can tag few things over here. So we do required, and subtitle is optional, it's not required, and description is say required. Okay, all right, so this is the front end checking. All right, okay. Now you also want to upload an image. By the way, before we go ahead, let's save it first. Now come over here and refresh it, it's gone. Okay, now we want to upload a thumbnail image. Okay, and to do that, here simply we'll just call, I think we can put it right below subtitle. So here we do here image. Okay, now image field in our database is a thumbnail, and here I don't think we need this one because the default name is a thumbnail. We can use that. Now beautiful thing about it, okay, now here it says that configure the file system, because if you create an image file, or if you want to upload an image, so it needs disk space. Okay, so it says go ahead over here and configure this file for your disk, because we need to upload image, so we need disk, so we need to come over here. So go ahead, config and file systems, find this one. So we are over here, config and file systems. Okay, so here we see we have this one for front and public folder. We also need for our back and admin. So what we'll do, we'll just simply go ahead and copy this one and paste this, and instead of public we'll call it admin. Okay, now let's go ahead and save it. Let's see the result. Okay, yeah, now the error has gone. In fact, now you can upload any image you want. Say you want to upload this one. All right, okay, so it's pretty simple and powerful. So using this one, you can select an image, any image you want. Okay, so that's it. Now we'll see more things. Okay, so here what we would do, would go ahead and create a switch statement. So over here we would do switch, Now switch, this is for option like either 0 or 1, more like Boolean. And in our database we have this field. Okay, now here I'll save it. Now I'll refresh it. So now it created an auto switch statement for you, and the default properties labels are on and off, but you can override them, and which we'll do over here. To override that, simply we'll first declare a array over here, and we'll call it states, and within it we'll have two fields. One is on, and for on we want to override the default one. So anyway, so for on the value is 1 and the text, so here I'll call it publish. Okay, and we also can I think so far so good. And now the other one is off. So these are the two default values that we have and related bit of information, but we can override them. That's what we are doing. Now for off, the value is 0, and now the text is draft. Okay, now to override that, here we need to simply attach this. Okay, we'll call a method called states. Okay, and within it we'll pass states array that we created. All right, and sorry, error should be gone. Now let's refresh it. Now as you see, we can see it a bit of different way right now. Okay, now we want to, the labels are different. So here what we want, we can instead of saying released, I think we can say it published or publish. Okay, let's go ahead and refresh it. Okay, so it changed. All right, now let's go ahead and try to submit an image or anything or article. But I think one thing is missing here, pretty important. So we want to show our category over here, article category, right? So that's what we want to do. Well, to do that, remember over here earlier we did this thing, right? So here we can just simply copy this one and put it right there. Okay, now over here we saved the parent ID or the article type in the parent ID column in our database, which was this one. But for article we want to save the ID in type ID. Okay, so over here, so this type ID would be the ID of your columns, this ID of your article ID, or sorry, for article types, this ID would be saved here within your type ID. So this would be the relationship. Okay, so once again over here the columns ID, which is auto incremented, would be saved over here within the type ID, and for that one we can use the same function we did. Now instead of parent ID, because we don't have parent ID, so we do type ID. We don't change it here, we need to change it over here, type ID. Okay, let's go ahead and run it. Okay, well now it says that article type not found because this one. So we need to do, we'll come over here, copy this and import the file. Okay, now let's run it one more time. Okay, now over here you see, we can see them. All right, so we'll create our first article. We'll create here title, we'll call learn Laravel. Okay, now over here we'll say, we'll keep it empty, or we can do best PHP framework. I will select an image for Laravel and we'll select this one. Okay, and the content type, you must master it. Okay, blah blah blah. Right, and let's see, try to submit it, and we might have some errors. Okay, so unknown column description, I think we might have a bit of error over here, so you're missing T. Okay, let's see what else. So Everything else is saved automatically. You see, that's another amazing thing about it. So here we'll save it, upload the Laravel image. One second, let's submit it, and it's submitted. Amazing, isn't it? Now if you come over here, just check it, it's there, right? Okay, the image files are there, and the type ID is there, description is null. But we need to see why the description is null, because we were supposed to submit the description which is required, and it didn't submit it to our database. Alright, so it doesn't really matter. We'll take care of this null thing soon, but before we go ahead, and now here we want to show our options from the database, right? Or the records. So here simply we do grid. Now here we do title, because we have title, and here we do grid, while subtitle. Once again, all the fields in your database field, you can access them as a method. Okay, all right, and here we do grid options, grid descriptions. Okay, once again, let's save it and see what's happening here. So we have title, we have subtitle, and we have description, but now description is empty. Okay, we don't know why. All right, well, there's also this image issue that we'll take care of it very soon. Now let's see, try to type it once again, learn Laravel now. Okay, let's submit it. Okay, so it looks like it's working now. It didn't work in the first attempt. Okay, so try to create a new one, and this time we'll call it, say, Flutter, and Flutter Google. Okay, subtitle, you are learning Flutter, and we'll select an image for Flutter, which is this one. And over here the content is best mobile framework. Okay, now here we submitted. Oh, it looks like it's working now. Okay, so now there's another issue. So once you try to edit it, the image is not there. But before I go ahead, see the beautiful thing. You can delete them, you can see them, you can edit them, all without doing any kind of JS, CS, and HTML. Okay, now here if you try to add it, you see the image name is not there. Okay, for the image, I think we can do a bit of change in our configuration, like as we saw earlier. If we have this error, well, I'll check out the link below. So for the admin, in the public folder, actually we want to create an uploads folder, and within the uploads folder we want to create an image folder. Well, first thing first, I'll just copy this one, and I'll come to this file system file over here, and which we did early. So we'll change it a little bit. So now instead of storage, for the admin folder, we'll upload the files in uploads folder. Okay, that's one thing. And well, but at the same time, if you come to the admin folder, it says that whatever directory you create, okay, it should have a file, it should have images folder. Okay, so that's what we should have. Okay, so now over here we don't have it yet, but now if you try to upload an image once again, say Laravel, this one. Okay, now let's try to submit it, and it's still trying to submit. Okay, now it says that can't create a directory in the Laravel public root folder. Well, after this configuration, it expects a folder in public folder, which is this one. So over here we'll create a new folder, and we'll call it uploads. Okay, now we'll come over here. So we'll try it. Let's see. We'll upload it one more time and we'll call it Laravel. Let's submit it. Now it's looking for images folder. Now this images folder, once again, coming from this configuration. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll go ahead and create an images folder over here. Okay, now this time you go ahead and upload an image. So Laravel, this one, submit it. Okay, now it says permission denied error. Okay, so simply we could go ahead within this, say we do 755. Okay, now let's try it one more time. Okay, we still have permission here. Well, now for a lot of time, if 755 doesn't work, you could go to 777, of course, which is not good. Now if 755 doesn't work, then it also has to do with your server configuration. Okay, now let's try now. So we'll come over here. And now it worked. Okay, now if you come over here, you add it, so the image is there. So the idea is you have to have within public folder, uploads folder, then images folder, and then you also need to set up the permission. Okay, all right, at the same time, well, now we'll come over here, our article folder. So we also want to show the image. Okay, so we do grid column. So our database field name is thumbnail, and here we do thumbnail. Okay, and to show the image, actually we could do image over here. It takes 3 parameters. First one is we can keep empty. Second one is the size. Okay, so width and height. All right, now let's save it. And if we do a refresh over here, we will be able to see our image. Okay, now we'll go ahead and delete this one, and okay, now we'll try to upload a new one, and we'll create a new one. We'll call it Flutter, learn Flutter. Okay, must learn framework, and now here we'll upload one for Flutter, and say best mobile and web framework. Okay, all right, we'll submit it. Now it's there. Okay, so that's how it works. Okay, now another thing we want to show the category as well, but right now we have title, subtitle, description, and thumbnail, and we also want to show this over here, our category name, like here. So we do have a title ID, type ID. Okay, so we want to show this category name as well. All right, so now to do that, here we need to create a relationship. So here, that's what we'll do. Now every article will has one category. Okay, so that's what we'll do here. So we'll build a relationship, one-to-one relationship. So here I will call it public function, and I'll call it article, the method name, and here we'll return this. Now here we'll want to create, we'll use has one relationship, and here we want to mention the model name. So it's a article type class. Okay, and the relationship would be ID of article type, and the field of article, which is type ID. Okay, all right, so we'll save it, and which I said early over here. So which I said early. So the ID of article type would be saved in the type ID. So based on this too, we can create a relationship, has one relationship. Okay, now we saved it, but anyway, I will come over here to our article controller, and here we can show the category name. Okay, so here we do grid, column, and within it we'll call article, and then we'll call it title. Now we created this function article, so that's what we are calling over here, and using this one we can access the title, and title name I will call it here category. Okay, and then I will just simply put comma over here. Now let's come over here and see what happens. So our categories are there. Okay, so that's how it works. But of course, if you don't want to use the column, which is recommended over here for model form, model grid actually, basic usage or column usage, so we can do using column. Or if you don't want to use column, you can just simply do grid here, article, and then we want to call title. Okay, let's save it, and let's see the result. So as you see, they're same, this two. All right, so but now the title, article title, the combination of article and title is this auto-generated name, which I don't like. So here I'll go ahead with the first one, but the idea is same. So using grid, we are able to access this method over here, which is an article, and the related one-on-one relationship, the fields we can access as well over here. Okay, but I'll skip that, we don't want this on. Okay, one more thing though, like here now we can see this images, right? Or refresh it. If you don't see the image in your file in your local host, you need to come to env file and make sure you have this one. All right, you have this domain name over here. Okay, if you are on localhost, just do localhost./ if you're on domain name, if you're on server, your domain name /. Okay, and that's how it should work. Okay, all right, so you see now we are pretty good with this, so we can show the form over here. Well, of course here we are not seeing the image itself, but we see the image path. All right, okay, now we can come back, would be able to delete them, it would be added to them. Okay, now let's create a new one once again. This time this time first we'll create a new category. Okay, and it will be under programming, and here we'll call, say, Java. All right, so now we'll come to our article over here and create a new one, and the type ID, or instead of type ID actually we can say category. Now this is over here. All right, so the type ID is this one. Now we are not passing a default name or label. Okay, here we'd say cat, or here we'd say, let's see, category. Okay, so now we'll choose here Java, and title learn Java. Subtitle is empty. Now the image here will upload Java, this one. Okay, and here best backend technology. Okay, here we'll submit it. Okay, now another option is missing here, whether we are publishing it or not. As you see, I can go ahead and edit it, and I'll publish it. Now let's see over here. Now we'll see it one more time. So it's in published state, but when you come to the back end over here, we want to be able to see whether an article has been published or not. Okay, we want to show over here as well. So now we'll come to our grid over here, and right after I think description here, we do grid. Okay, now column, whatever it is, the name is say released, sorry, the field name is database field name is released, and now over here we do released. Okay, now so remember it's a tiny int, I think. So released is tiny int, so it's will save either 0 or 1. If you come over here, so the first one is 1, others are 0, because the first one we already published on the back end. So we can treat it like a boolean. So here we just do simply bool function. So this is another function that's also mentioned here, so you can just go ahead and find it somewhere here, it's mentioned. Okay, so just don't forget to go through it. Anyway, okay, now as you see, it's released. It's not released, so we can simply go ahead and edit it, submit it. Now we'll say it's released. Now based on that, on your front end, based on this one, actually based on this value, you can show certain articles, you can hide certain articles. So hopefully it makes sense, right? Okay, all right, now another thing we want to do, like here we have this image. Okay, if we want to move them to a certain folder. Okay, right now this all goes to this folder over here, images folder. Okay, all right, so it all goes to images folder, and here actually we can create also unique name, or we can also get the default name, whatever the name is given. Okay, from client. In general, is try to use default name, whatever the name is given, but if there is a contradiction, it automatically generates a random name for you. But anyway, so here if you want to save it to a certain folder, here you could do like this. Okay, move, and within move here you can mention the folder's name. Okay, say for example programming. All right, so it will save everything in programming folder. Now what will happen, it will first create a if it doesn't exist, it will create a programming folder for us automatically. Now we can test it right now, right away over here. So we'll say create another Laravel category, post, and we'll do Laravel 8. Okay, now better. Here once again I'll upload the same image, okay, and input best backend framework, or best of the best. It doesn't really matter. Now let's go ahead and say it. So this is the one that I think this is the one that we created just now, this one, and we didn't publish it. Let's go ahead and publish it. Okay, so now we'll come over here, let's refresh it. You see it created a new folder and the image is there. All right, now if the image name conflicts, it will auto generate a name like this for you. Okay, hopefully it makes sense. All right, so the next step we want to go ahead and install an editor over here. So right now it's not an editor, so we want to create an editor, install an editor. To do that, we'll come over here, and I think over here, this one, this file. Okay, so here we want to install an editor for our backend, and we'll follow this tutorial. So we'll go ahead and install an editor using composers. So I'll copy this one and put it there, and I will say yes, and it will install it for us. Okay, now here we need to publish it to the vendor folder, and that's what we'll do, and it already did. Okay, now we need to go ahead and in our admin folder, admin.php file, we need to do the configuration. So we'll just simply copy this one. Okay, now we'll come over here, come to our admin file, in the extension section we'll just put it. Okay, All right, now it should automatically install some of the files, but if it doesn't, then you need to do it manually. So what do we want? We want in, say, vendor folder over here, there should be some files, but if it didn't, then what I would suggest, like if you come over here, I already mentioned over here, so public vendor folder, there should be this one. Okay, well, if it's not there, which I already saw it's not there, so I'll download the file over here. Okay, and I'll either, okay, still downloading. Okay, show in Finder. So what I'll do, I'll go ahead and put it there and upload it through this FTP file. Now I'll come over here and I'll go to public vendor. Okay, now here I can unzip U editor. Okay, now I'll remove. Okay, so it's there. Now let's go ahead and try to use the editor. Okay, now to use the editor over here, instead of description, instead of text, here I would do U editor. I think that's what it goes. Let's see. Yeah, U editor. Okay, so just instead of text field, you just use the U editor. Okay, now let's come over here. Yeah, the editor is there. Beautiful, isn't it? Okay, so now over here we would create a new one, and we'll call, say, programming, and here we'll call learn programming. Okay, and select image. Well, for now I'll still go ahead with say Laravel, and here I can actually upload a couple of other images as well. Okay, say Java, but it didn't show the image. Right now there is a problem here. After installing it, I said you need to create this soft link, so we'll just go ahead and run the command. Let's see, I think we need to be out of this folder. Okay, now let's run the command, and it created a soft link. Now if you come over here, let's try this one over here, Flutter. Okay, so the image is there, right? So you can create more images, more text over here, whatever you want. Okay, so you can put a bunch of text over here. So let's copy this one. The text is there, and now what we'll do, we'll submit it. So this is our text over here, and this is the thumbnail, and this thumbnail is saved in our programming folder. Now if you refresh it, you see it, because just now we also again uploaded Laravel.png. so if it completes, it automatically gives a new random name. Okay, but now we have this thing, we don't want this thing over here. Okay, so how to get rid of this thing? So this HTML tags, so we are not what is it, we are not, we need to hide them. Okay, so to do that, one thing we could do, so now this is totally based on our Laravel admin package. Okay, now so now here we need to come to this vendor folder, we need to find anchor over here. So this is where we have some PHP files for our admin package, and as well as the resources, as you can see over here. Now you come to this folder, view. Now here you'll see this content, okay, an index file. So this is the index folder. So a lot of this actually, like here we are not doing any kind of JS, CS or HTML. Actually, in fact, they are all over here. They are auto-generated for you, but you can edit them. Now I want to edit this part. Now the view over here is showing this content, is showing this content over here, or actually all of them. But now we need to get rid of this HTML characters or special what is it, the special HTML tags. All right, now I already have an article on that, how to get rid of those things. So the article is, let's see, this one. Okay, now over here one of this is called HTML entity decode. this one. Okay, so just like this. So you need to put your variable inside HTML entity decode, and then it will get rid of HTML entities. So now here we see HTML entities, so we need to get rid of them. So first I will put it there. Okay, or in fact I could just copy all of it over here and put it there. Now the variable is content, so I'll cut it and put it there. Okay, and we don't need this thing. Okay, so now here I'll do a refresh and my content is there, but now the content is too much, right? I don't want to show all of it, I want to show partly. So to do that, what I could do, I could come over here in the description section. I can call another function which is called display. Okay, now display takes a callback function. Within the callback function, the value of this field or column, okay, all right. Do remember here I can, instead of description, I could do column description, like this. Okay, I could do that same thing, description. Okay, so it's the value of this column, which is description. Okay, so over here we can simply return something. Okay, return a PHP function which is called substring. It takes your string and it keeps 0 to whatever you want, and then it returns that value. Now what we'll do, we'll just go ahead and do like this, but it looks like this value has been gone, like for description. Okay, and we have a mismatch over here. So after doing this, we see this part has chopped off. Well, now it's chopped up. The reason is because our article over here does contain, like if you want to see the HTML part, okay, so this part has been like almost 100, so it's got chopped off. Okay, so of course we don't want to see HTML, we just want to see like this, but in reality in the database this is saved like this, right? We know it. So that's why we need to increase the length. Say we do 300. Okay, now you come over here, so it's gone. All right, so let's see, you submit it and it's there, right? So this is your coming from this is a text editor. Oh, of course we didn't do those things in text editor, so now we can submit it again. We'll do best of the best backend framework. Now let's see. So okay, now these are good. All right, so actually this is pretty powerful. Why? You can also do filter over here. Now we can do based on ID, we can do filter, like we have this ID, right? Okay, 567. So here, say you want to search 6, it'll show you the 6th ID. All right, but we want to do more than that. To more than that, say for example you want to search based on category, title or subtitle. So for this one we can use another function, okay, which is called a grid and a filter. Filter is a function, you can directly use it, and takes anonymous function, and within it it takes any kind of value. We'll call the value as a filter. Okay, and after that it will return. Now here you can mention your condition based on what. So we want to search based on title, so here we do, I think let's see, filter like. Okay, so this object, if it's within filter function, this variable will have a function which is called like. So we do title. Okay, based on title we want to filter it. So now let's refresh it. So as you see, the title is here. Now is all over article, come over here and you see filter. Now I think we want to disable our ID filtering. We don't want to filter based on ID, so you could do a disable. Okay, now to disable you come over here, let's see the filter function. Okay, so here it says, so filter function is very powerful and it does a lot of things. Okay, so we can do disable ID filter, this one. Okay, So we'll just copy paste this one. And you come over here, refresh it. Now filter ID is gone. You can also do filter based on subtitle, like, or article category, like this one. Okay, so you do filter like, so you can just simply copy paste this one. Okay, of course you can change the name over here, I guess. I'm not sure we can. Let's give it a try. And over here, say category. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think we have an error. Filter over here. Now let's do filter. Okay, title, category. So this like function also take customized name or label name. Okay, so as you see, it's pretty powerful. So now talking about display, you come over here and see the display function. Okay, column display. It's a powerful, pretty powerful. You can do a lot more things inside it. So all you need to do, go through this documentation file and see how it works. Okay, so within display, actually, in fact, you can do any logical thing and return whatever you want. Okay, all right. Well, I think with this admin package, we are so far so good. And here, another thing, you can also export all of your articles, okay, in a CSV file. So here, before you export, you can say you don't want to export description, and you also don't want your thumbnail and other things you want to export. So after selecting it, just do export, and it will download a CSV file for you. And the beautiful thing is that it's exported there, as you can see. Okay, yeah, so that's how it works. So you can export pretty much all of them as a CSV file. Okay, yeah, I think I didn't submit it. Now try to export. Now open it. Now you see that description is gone. So first there was a description. Now of course for released, it's still there. So it depends on you which part you want, you don't want. So you can just come over here and select them. Okay, and then you have to do submit. All right, so based on your needs, you can create different routes over here on this menu section and attach them there and go ahead. All right, so hopefully you learned something. If you did, don't forget to smash that like button. Thank you so much.